calling you a radical. This is a big story for you Onofre ears. You know, get this nuclear waste off our place. These stupid fuckers in Utah have no clue that they've been bringing it here. Two really hot reactors, way over state legal. And this Sheehan who's supposed to be watching is corrupt. The whole state's so fucking corrupt. I mean, politically, it's the most corrupt place. Well, I asked fucking Governor Cox right there about it. He told me he didn't know what I was talking about. Fucking, no wonder they prey on him. Selfish, fucking, arrogant, ignorant, drunk on ignorance people fucking elect ignorant fucking fools, leaders. No wonder the lobbyists fucking eat them for lunch here. So, this is a big deal in Texas. All my exes headed to Texas. So, you'll read this bill and it sounds like this is a blow to Holtec. This is a blow to the Senate. By the way, now this is important in Utah because we have Burgess Owens. What, that multiple bankruptcy, bash brains in dude from Brooklyn? What? Yeah, because Fox News controls these dumb fucking downwinders in southern Utah. They're completely pathetic. I'll tell you how pathetic they are. Right there. Mike Lee. Now remember, this is Mike Lee sneaking in nuclear waste to the Energy Solutions dump site. That's where I was when Fukushima happened. He had no clue. I mean, so many years later, 2013, I asked him. His dad died. He grew up in Central Utah. What about the nuclear? He just blatantly lied to me. I got to tell you, Kevin, I prepped his aide before I talked to him because he's that ignorant. I tell you, well, I just found out my dad's a downward. Just found out. Now remember, this is a guy propped up by the nuclear cartel. This is how pathetic they are here. Why they're bringing in nuclear waste illegally, Dirty Herbie. Oh, what a passive-aggressive freaking liar he was. Letting it in. So, this is important for you in San Diego County, Orange County. This is real important for you guys. So, Ducking Hunter's rabbit. Trump pardoned him, you do know that. Oh, fuck. Think about that. Well, that you guys elected him, why he was under all these fucking charges. Going to the orgies with his wife, fucking flying his rabbit around in first class with your money. Well, you love it in San Diego. Fucking inland, your fucking brains are cooked. So, Mike Levin, not that radical, insane Levin. Mike Levin, District 49, panning for nuclear waste, not gold. The statue at Old Town, talk about, that's my great-grandfather here, who is the Mormon Church. He sponsored the bill. I hooked him up with Ben McAdams. Ben McAdams is the most accomplished congressman we ever had here, ever. I mean, we got Blake Moore here in this district now, and I know Blake personally, and he's dumber than a fuck. Well, he's not dumb, he's just ignorant. I talk to him about these nuclear waste issues, I talk to him about different issues, and I might as well be talking Mandarin Chinese to him. He hasn't got a clue, but he played football like Burgess Owens. Okay. So I guess it's better than these sociopaths we had before. So, the bill got shut down yesterday in Texas. You think that's bad? No, that's good. Because the bill, now this is how they're playing you in Texas. The bill was to lower the limit on what can be brought in there. Now this is the same bill that exists in Utah and in Idaho that Scott Matheson got through all the way back in those days while he was dying of leukemia. Downwinder. I was in the hospital at LDS State with his wife recently. She just died. What a gem. Of leukemia. You know, Scott Matheson was a great governor. Died young of leukemia. You know, we all know downwinders. Moab, the cancer capital of the world. If you don't believe me, you go to LDS. I mean, this is not commentary. I lived in the LDS Bone Marrow Transplant Center for over 5 years until Mike Lee kicked me off Medicaid while I was in, after I forked over $1 million. Illegally kicked me off, by the way. I lived there. On any given day, you go in there. That part of the state of Utah makes up less than 5% of the population. Any given day on that historic bone marrow transplant center at LDS, East 8, over 50% of the people in there dying, and 85% of the people that go in there don't come out are from southern Utah. Look at this creep. Oh, he's a derelict motherfucker here. So, bill got shot down, which would have blocked the waste at the state level. Of course, they don't need state. You know, I don't think you people realize in Texas and Utah and around the country, I don't think you realize that the Patriot Act had nuclear waste provisions written into it. It's national security, all nuclear. Nuclear energy is nuclear bombs. They don't have to have. They can move it without even telling, which my guess is probably already going on. Well, I know it's for a fact it's going on. My friend, she and her husband, they have some really close friends. This is 5 years ago. They're like, Kevin, you're right. My friend lives in Los Alamos and he's a trucker. He says he's making huge money right now. He's moving the MOX fuel from Savannah River, South Carolina, to Los Alamos. Now, I reported WIP blew up from inside there, the water school business who built WIP, the day that it blew up. I did an interview with New Mexico media down there. They're lying, salt truck, they're lying. WIP, I remember being in San Diego and a guy says, well, I work for the architectural firm that designed this repository called WIP. They never did build it. And I said, never build it. That's the biggest nuclear repository on the face of the fucking earth. It's got so much waste. So the canister that blew up was Peterson Fabricators. Right here. That's here. Jenkins and I went to high school together. By the way, his brother is the Weber County Commissioner. I grew up with him out there. I mean, I live right there. You should see that operation. They make the fucking can. It blew up. They lied about it until they were picking up plutonium in Texas, in fucking UTEP. I'm right here. This guy's sponsoring a Chinese student because this is the #1 school business in the country till when I taught there, when I graduated, and China came in. R.C. Willys and Warren Buffett. There's a picture used to be on the wall of Kevin Blanche with their arms around me, Warren Buffett and Bill Gates. I played golf with them. I had to go home and take 4 showers because when R.C. Willys, R.C. Swindlers, the Chinese creeps, Bill Childs, I used to fly on Bill Childs' Learjet to the shareholder meeting at Omaha, Nebraska. I talked to Warren Buffett many times, because you can't get to him as security. He's a creep, by the way. He's a real fucking phony creep. Bill Gates, they're Saudis, they're creepy as it gets. They're, old world order. #1 school business in the United States. When I taught here, when I went here, for years, via the test, we used to beat Wharton. Every year, beat Harvard every year. It was elite as hell. Elite. Clyde Cooley got mad cow and dropped dead in '99. I took over the program for Kyle Madsen. Kyle Madsen died of cancer. Everybody died of cancer. The Waters curse. They rank last now. Don't go see the Dalai Lama. So they wanted to develop a supply chain to build the new port in Salt Lake for Chinese slavery. We'd have none of it. We'd have fucking none of it. So they all died. Well, they got it. They got it lock, stock, barrel. It's corrupt as hell. Corrupt. They rank dead fucking last, yet they double salaries. All the professors are dead or left. So the nuclear waste. No one will deal with it. San Onofre, the shutdown, so I'm the guy that leaked all that to the media from the bone marrow transplant. That's the domino that got kicked over. Kevin Blanche is the one who did that work. I did all that work. It's the most historic, it's the greatest accomplishment in grassroots activist history. They had no intention of shutting down, none. They were afraid of me. Fucking go ask Kamala Harris, she'll tell you that straight up. They were fucking afraid of going to prison, going to jail, because I was leaking everything to her fucking office, the AG. And her mother just died from Livermore cancer. So Governor Herbert and crew developed this inland port to become the supply chain. So they tear down the old beautiful airport at Salt Lake. You should see the fucking new one now. It's so grotesque, sickening, ugly. So the greatest piece of art in this fucking state by far is the Salt Lake Temple and the murals inside. I used to work inside there. They're grand. Do you know they're tearing them all out? So Utah is blow up the big Buddhas, take away the art. They're fucking, I call them the Taliban. The Mormon Taliban's completely taken over. You know, David O. McKay, half this campus is named after him. I knew him personally. McKay, I mean, great guy. This is just an evolution that's happened in the last 40 years. They used to be Mormon socialists. They actually were fucking, they're not the Mormons that raised me. It's disgusting who they've evolved into. Worship the golden calf, hate thy neighbor, covet thy neighbor's fucking Walmart goods. It's disgusting. Everything the opposite. White horse prophecy. Huh. Written into it. Mark Hoffman fucking did his forgeries right here on this campus. I talk to him all the time. And you know, the lie was always that, oh, he read Fama K. Brody's book. Fama K. Brody's the greatest historian, greatest writer in the history of this fucking country. I knew her personally. The new Murder Amongst Mormons documentary debunks that and proves that's not true. He was forging from the time he was a kid. I mean, this is just a narrative that they've written over the last 40 years. So back to the nuclear waste. This is the place. Brigham Young didn't say that. Governor Herbert did. Governor Herbert did. This is the place for our nuclear waste. He passively aggressive bought it in. Olin Walker, who I grew up next door to, her mother was my first or second grade teacher, Mrs. T.O. Smith's wife. Yeah, the first governor of, yeah. She blocked it. Every Democrat, Republican, man, woman governors blocked it. He let it in. He let it in. Illegally. So Cecil Andrews, same bill in Idaho. So you stupid fuckers in Idaho, these secret trucks are showing up. They're hauling fucking 100-point fucking illegal waste to the... You could send it in Idaho. This is, I got to tell this story. I'm in the bone marrow transplant center. This woman, she's in her later 50s, is dying of leukemia from Arco, Idaho. Her husband's the lead Republican legislator in the Idaho House. Me and him had a conversation. You're not going to vote for this bill to consent, the consent-based hearings. I went to the one in Idaho. I went to the one in California. You know, Darrell Isis cried they won't bring it, and he showed up after the meeting was over. He didn't even show up to his own hearing. Oh, they showed up. I confronted Allison McFarland right there to her face. The only time anybody from the NRC got freaking challenged. They're afraid of me. They should be. The real anonymous is not so anonymous, and I got all the fucking goods. There's going to come a time when this is going to come apart and all these fuckers are going to go to prison. They bribed politicians, NewScale did here. I caught them dead red. The FBI has the goods. The nuclear waste corruption. So WIP from New Mexico, the MOX fuel was in Fukushima, Japan, because we passed a law here that you could not use the recycled fucking fuel for fucking bombs from nuclear reactors in the United States. I was involved with that clear back in the 70s. We got it through. So what did they do? They just moved it to fucking Japan, the nuclear island. It was plumb full of it. So what didn't blow to fucking smithereens? They brought it back. Look it up. Google it. Just look it back. 5 years ago, they brought it back into the Tower to Babel. $29 billion loot job at Mox Fuel fucking Fairy Tale, Savannah River, Georgia, which was all Arriva, fuck Chicago Bridge and Iron, fucking I had you short in that, I had you short in G, fucking... It didn't work, did it? Never had it. It was all fairy. They're still building it. $29 billion. They said that the DOE goes in and investigates. Says we're Chicago Bridge and Iron, Arriva, the whole nuclear industry crime syndicate said we're 78% complete. They investigate. They're 28% complete. They stole $23 billion to the United States taxpayer. But then the nuclear energy crime syndicate, there'll be no charges. Jeff Bezos' fucking paper, his fucking father, grandfather, guys. Yeah, that's the nuclear. I mean, Epstein Island, fucking Bill Gates. Why do you think they're all pro-nuclear? They're all Saudi Arabia, the fucking royal family. Think about it right here. KSL interviewed 5 students when 9/11 happened. I get up here, they have the labs. They work in all the labs. They arrested 5 students here. They do an interview. Well, we're leaving the country. We're getting out of the country. Well, how are you going to do that? They already knew. Think about this. The Saudi royal family taxed fucking the Pentagon, taxed the Twin Towers. The Saudis, they were all Saudis. Muhammad Atta and fucking crew, he was Egyptian, but the rest were all Saudis. And they were funded. It's unarguable, too big to jail, that they were funded by the Saudi Arabia. I was a derivative arbitrage specialist. I taught it here. I worked on Wall Street. That's what I did. I'm the first guy that identified that they'd bought puts on the airlines. I'm the guy that did that. I mean, we were the elite school business on the fucking hedge fund fucking industry. I'm the guy that fucking used to teach the fucking class on how to do it. Roll puts underneath. I'm the first guy that lied. I says, look at this. I told Kyle Madsen, look at this, look at this, look at this. Dr. Cooley had just passed away. The FBI knew it. The CIA interviewed me right there. They were going to fucking put together a group, but they knew it. When the money traced right to the Bank of London and right to the Saudi elites, they dropped it. They knew the whole time that they were Saudi royal family. Same, they knew that's who it was, but they run the world. By the way, they behead how many women over there? They're looking for new beheaders. This is who we bow to. You think about that. The Saudi which was created by Rockefeller Rothschild. That's why Epstein, all of them have the Saudi passports. They're Rockefeller Rothschilds. Now you think about that. They attacked the United States fucking viciously. And nothing happened to them, did we? Went off to Afghanistan to kill the Taliban. Went off to Iraq to get a bigger side. Went off to Vietnam to kill the Vietnam. We did nothing. Now think about that. Think about that. Now who runs this country? And you dumb sheep fell for it, not me. So the nuclear waste, they're terrorists. The DOE's terrorists. So it's headed to Texas, and it's accomplishment. But here's the thing. They want to lower the fee. Bullshit. Raise the fee. If Texas is going to take not the Texas government, they'll thieve it. Rick Perry wants to make it sexy again. If anybody in Texas is pissed about this, that's who it is. By the way, Jennifer Graham Holman's the new Rick Perry. So keep making more. Keep making more of this fucking toxic hell. Fukushima should have been the end. Chernobyl should have been the end. Well, 3 Mile Island should have been the end. So it's going to Texas. Coltec on the pads. They decommissioned San Onofre 30 years ahead of schedule. It's going to be till 2055. It's already done. It's in the canisters. They roll in there and try to block it. Kevin Blanch's work. That's all my work. Thank you to the fucking workers who put it in the canisters, and they were so efficient, so quick. It's already done. Hundreds and hundreds of millions under budget. Jerry Brown's roommate, Skull and Bones. Yep, Jerry Brown's roommate was the judge, or he would have went to jail. On the collusion at San Onofre, Kamala Harris's office worked on it. We had him dead to rights. All of the collusion, the money. That's why they shut down, because they're afraid of Kevin Blanch's army, because I was getting all the goods. Anonymous ain't so anonymous. Leaking it to him. The judge that threw out the case against Jerry Brown not only went to Skull and Bones fucking yell. I like fucking that little fat rat Alex Jones, Skull and Bones, when he calls it New World Order when it's all World Order. He's the best useful idiot they ever had. Texas. Like Rick Perry. Unbelievable. Call it New World Order when it's Old World Order. Johnny got his gun. Shiny ball of the resistance. It's headed to Texas. WHIP has been expanded after it blew up. $2 billion rip. It's been expanded fucking over 5 times its capacity, what it was just in 2011, 2012. They have shoved so much nuclear waste in their MOX fuel. Incredible amounts have been shoved in that hole. It's all coming there anyway. They've been taking it there anyway. It's on that pad at San Onofre. It's 1,000,000 times safer than it was in those spent fuel pools. Tick-tock, Diablo Canyon clock. Jennifer Graham Holm wants to keep fucking Diablo Canyon fucking open for you people in the Central Coast of California. She's about as creepy as it fucking gets. Who knew she was she went to Berkeley. I should have fucking known. So did I for a while. We used to kick their ass in the testing right here. My class. But I got blackballed, just like Fawn McKay Brody got blackballed. So, it's a big story. They shut down the bill in Texas. By the way, yeah, I had the camera flipped backwards, it looks like. That's okay. This is a dissertation anyway. On my Texas. So, it's a big story. The verbiage in this one matters anyway. It's all about, this is important. Get it backed up. So, this is the greatest accomplishment, and San Onofre will be the first. I said my goal in life as an activist, #1, and I've accomplished so much, it's unbelievable. Killed Blue Castle here. I'm working on some other stuff here. The SMRs, before I'm done, they're all going to go to fucking prison. Those sham artists. Shut down San Onofre. Get the waste moved off that fucking beach. It's my #1 goal in my life. Always has been since I was a kid. I'm the guy that shipped over that domino. Thus, they're all coming down. You can keep bailing them out. You can do whatever. Fukushima, tick-tock. First fucking batch from San Onofre. It'll be leaving port soon. This is a big deal. It's going to allow it in. Pay them in Texas. Pay each individual person. Give them a check to take this fucking nuclear waste. I used to say in California, you make the fucking shit, you eat it. But Utah here, we get nothing. They just dump it here on the toilet on us. Cecil Andrews fought so vigilantly, that great governor, and fucking, he's dead. He died in 2016. I used to work with him in Idaho. They're already bringing it in Idaho, but Idaho's too fucking stupid. They're too busy. They want to go fucking kill wolves out of helicopters because they think cows are natural. They're so fucking stupid up there. They watch so much Bonanza and fucking hee-haw. It becomes as natural as occupying a bird refuge. I'm going to send this to my buddy Ammon Bundy, by the way. So, all right. Important video. Long dissertation. So, really important. So, what an accomplishment. So the first batch will be leaving San Diego ASAP, and do not give Dolly Parton a mastectomy and bring it here in Utah, because they had an accident. I'm the guy that leaked that. This is right after Matthew Stewart was murdered right here, the no-knock thing. Well, he was hung in a jail cell when Jared, a cop, shot a cop. That was January 2012. That's when Black Lives Matter was invented, on the death of Danielle Willard, and they stole it by Kevin Blanche. It's a fact, Jack. You know, deny my work. I don't really give a fuck. 2012, January 30th, they had an accident at San Onofre. They call it a steam malfunction. They vent it all over you. That reactor's so fucking hot, it's against state law to bring it here. But that don't stop these fucking Mormons, because I don't know who they are. Well, they're all Los Alamos. Fuck you, go to Los Alamos. They're all Mormons. You want to blame somebody? Look at the Mormon Church. They hijacked it. Ezra Taft Benson did that. The John Burr, Joseph Smith. There'll come a time when the Mormon Church is completely hijacked by fucking people in wigs masquerading as fucking prophets. They will be Satan himself. Kevin Blanche, The White Horse Prophecy on Bible. Stand tuned.